Hello everyone. What we're going to be doing in this video today is looking at how to create a segmented bar chart when utilizing univariate data. So in Excel, if I want to go through and do a segmented bar chart, usually all I have to do is select my information, press insert, choose the appropriate graph, and it will automatically display the graph pre-formatted. And that works really well when you've got multiple variables. So in this case, I've got two. I've got the sport people play and I've got the sex. If I go across to this one, I've got place of birth, but I don't have a second variable. So when I go across and I try to graph this using the same way, it ends up coming up just as a bar chart, and that's not what we're wanting. So to get the segmented bar chart, you need to manually go in and select your data. So you need to have it so that these two are not one series, but they're two independent series. So I'm going to click on my chart, make sure I've got my chart design up. So if I look up at the ribbon, I should be on design, and I'm going to go to select data. So my first step is to remove what's already there. Okay, and now I can start from scratch. So for this part, you've got, first thing you need to do is add a new series. Our series names are the countries that we're looking at where people were born. So our first one is Australia. I'm going to type that in, and then I'm going to select the value that corresponds with that. And I press OK. And I'll come up with this. So this first part, the series, tells the Excel how high the graph needs to be. The second part, which is the horizontal axis labels, is usually reserved for the variable we're looking at. Now, we're looking at place of birth, but because we're manually entering this in, it automatically defaults to 1. So we're going to have to go in and we're going to have to edit that. So I click on Edit, and I select place of birth. Okay, and it will rename my axis title. Now to get my overseas data, all I need to do is add a second series. So either I select my series name and I can type it in, or I can select it on the sheet, and then I select my series value. I press OK. Okay, again, it's defaulted to 1, but the overseas information is overriding it, so that's going to be fine. So I press OK, and this is my graph. Now this isn't too bad, but it is missing one piece of information that we would need. Technically two, because we're missing an axis title for the vertical. But the most important thing is making sure you've got the legend. So without the legend, I know this is about place of birth, but I have no idea whether or not these are two separate countries or states, etc. So I'm going to go to Add Chart Elements, select Legend, and that will include my legend. At the same time, I can get my axis titles, and I can specify which one I want, which is primary vertical, and I'm just going to label this frequency percentage, because we're dealing with percentages. And once I've done that, I've got a nicely labeled graph ready for presentation.